Welcome back to Four Faces. Today we're going to talk about the economic impact of China relationships with America as well as the European relationship with America. And how did we get to this point where we are economically being impacted by China? Now, this will not be a bashing segment. It will not be. It will not be a history lesson. It will not be that. It's just going to show how we got to where we are and where we possibly going to go and how is it affecting you financially in your daily lives. So let's begin. So let's think about this. Today, we're here in America, 2021, and now you're starting to hear a lot of Asians are getting, unfortunately, are getting targeted. It's been going up. There's been an increase in violence against Asians due to the COVID-19. This has been in the news. You can check it. You can see that it's been there. I read about it just yesterday. I read about it last week as well. And it seemed to be an uptick in that. Unfortunately, that's where we at. If some of you might also know is that when the COVID came out, that a lot of the restaurants, Asian restaurants, Chinese restaurants, had to actually close down because a lot of people was definitely frustrated, especially those who lost their job due to the COVID-19. And there's a lot of people that are intense right now, really angry and frustrated. And obviously they want to let that frustration out on someone. And I guess Trump didn't help neither, right? Think about it. He called it the Kung Fu virus. I mean, anyway, you get the point, right? China, Kung Fu, you get it, right? So let's move forward. So with that being said, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. We can't hide from this, right? So let's go back a little bit. Let's go back and then I'll fast forward you. So think about it. If you think about China and you think about the European nations and obviously the United States, you can see that it's been a rocky relationship. It really have. Let's take ourselves away from today. Let's take ourselves away from current events from 2021 and let's go back a little bit to the 18th and 19th century. Remind you, I'm not going to give a history lesson. I'm just going to mention some important facts, right? So let's think about it. I don't know if you ever heard of the 8 alliances, but nevertheless, if you go back and look at a lot of the history back then, you'll see that a lot of European countries, it's just the facts, people, including America, was out to rape China. They wanted to divide China up into pieces. They killed a lot of Chinese. They raped a lot of the women. They cut off people's heads. And I got the footage to show you that. So it's not like it's my opinion. I have actual pictures of, unfortunately, the execution of a lot of Chinese. This is facts. This is the facts, people. I know some of you don't want to hear it, but this is the facts. So then you move to America, you go to America, you go to some European countries, and they portray Chinese as being these evil people, and they're despicable, they're not worth nothing, they got newspaper articles talking about dividing China up. That's not my opinion, that's facts. Once again, I will be showing and presenting those pictures. These are actual pictures at that time. So now, with that being said, European nations, including Japan, by the way, which is in Asia, we all should know that, right? Japan was absolutely horrible with China. They took some of their land, they raped their women, they killed the people, they decimated a lot of the Chinese, and it goes on and on and on. So if you think about it, from that era, it was very devastating for Chinese back then. Very devastating for them. So a lot of time, so here's the thing. Why do I bring that up? I bring that up to show that there is what we call, as you know, the word propaganda. And that's where we are today. We are in a time where a lot of the history of what we done wrong to China is basically not talked about. And the reason we don't want to talk about it because it leaves a stain on the ideal of what America stands for. So I know people do not want to hear that, but that's facts. That's what it is. And we need to face that. Same way we need to face all the other things that America have done. With that being said, we move forward now to the present day. So now in the present day, we're faced with all of this propaganda, right? We faced with all these lies and, oh, America is, we're doing so great for China and they backstab us and they control the whole market, right? And truth of the matter is that why do they control all the market? And now I'm presenting to you the economic impact of China over America. And that's where we are now in the current 2021. So let's talk about that. Now, we all should know, or we should realize at least, that all the products, or I should say all, because that's a little misleading, most of the products you buy is from China. That's from your sneakers you wear on your foot to the hat on your head, right? The clothes you wear, the Nikes, the Jordans, the nice handbags, the leather handbags, medicine also is what? Manufactured by China. And we realize the impact of putting the tariffs on China. Why? Because think about it. You say, why? Well, it's very simple. Because when Trump was president, he put the tariffs on China. What happened? The end result was that farmers lost tremendous amount of money. A lot of them went bankrupt. What did the government do? They stepped in and paid what? Big money to the farmers. That is a financial impact that America had to swallow. That's a financial impact that the consumers had to swallow. So do you see that indirectly for the consumer, the buyer, the person that's at the store counter getting ready to purchase something, they are facing the increase and the financial difficulties of the prices going up that's hurting their pockets. Then you think about, well, okay, think about the clothes you buy. Think about that. Think about the jobs that are lost. Think about that. So now, do we blame China for that? I don't really think so. Because here's why. The companies that are manufacturing these things, right, like the sneakers, Nike, etc., a lot of these companies are American companies, correct? Right? Remember the whole slogan, bring jobs back to America, American made. Remember that? Well, think about it this way. Those companies are just to blame as anybody else. Who's giving the jobs to China? Think about that. Who's giving those jobs to China? Let's think about Apple products, right? Everybody have an Apple product. Just about everybody got Apple product. They got watch, you got iPad, etc., right? Who gave those jobs to China? Apple, right? Think about it. They're manufacturing the products in China and they selling it to Americans. It's not just America, but all over the world, right? Europe, Africa, wherever part of the world you want to think about, a lot of it's being manufactured in China. But who gave them those jobs? You can't, we tend to demonize people, but you got to take a step back and look at yourself in the mirror and say, oh, but hold up. I gave them jobs, right? You're a company and you're sitting there and you're not saying nothing to calm down the people of various countries. Instead, you're sitting back and like, oh, I'm not going to say nothing. But you know, a lot of your companies know that you gave them the job. So when Americans don't have the jobs, or other parts of the world don't have their job, don't have a particular job no more because the manufacturing moved to China, you take blame as well. I'm talking to the companies, you take blame just as well. So that's the economic impact is that we lose jobs, right? Prices are affected, right? People can't afford things that they normally would afford because the tariffs are added to it. By the way, we all should know that tariffs is just basically a tax on the person, on people, right? Because the tariffs go directly to the company, which is basically a tax, but indirectly it's being passed on to who? The average day consumer. So, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to get to. Sorry, we cannot get caught up in propaganda. We have to understand the history of why we here in the first place. We can't just pick and blame people without knowing the whole reason behind it. So when you look at China, I'm not saying China's perfect. I just want to make sure I'm clear with that. But when you look at China, you gotta think of their mentality. Think of it this way: if you was in your, say like you're in your house. I just want to end this with this. Say like you're in your house. You're sitting in your house. You're relaxing, and then your neighbor comes over, and they knock on your door, and they keep knocking on your door. Then all of a sudden they just kick in your door, and they take your sugar, they take your candies, right? They take your baby's toys, right? And then they, you know what? I kind of like it here. I'm going to stay. You know what? This bedroom, I'm going to keep it. Why? Because you know what? I want to keep it. There's a lot of good things about this room. I like the windows. I like the view, right? I'm going to stay here. And not only that, you got a lot of good resources in here. You got a lot of chicken and food and steak, and I'm gonna relax, right? Think about that. That's relationship to what happened in the early China, America, European relationship, right? Ain't that the reason why they went there? They went there for what? Resources. They went there to dominate. They went there to take over, right? So now you set up a rebellion. You get in your household. You call your brother, call your sisters. You bring your family member over there. You might even have your 4-year-old diving right on in there. Now you go in, you beat up the people. You beat them up and tell them, get out, right? So now they leave. They leave, but here's the thing. Do you feel good about what they did to you? No, you don't feel good about it. Even though they left. And then what you do? You fix up your house. You put everything back to normal. It looks beautiful and better than it looked before, right? Think about it. But do you feel good about yourself? You don't feel good because you always will remember, what you done to me, to my household, to my family, to my culture even. That will always be on your mind. But do you blame them is the question. Do you demonize them to make yourself look better? Do you put them down to make yourself look better? I will say this, like I might have mentioned before. If you think about it, China have never came to America and attacked America on their soil. Never. Never in history have Chinese ever, or China as a country, came to America and devastated America, raped America, beheaded Americans. Never happened, ever happened. But unfortunately, we have done that. Not just America, but the European countries as well. So be careful. I say this, last thing we'll say. Be careful of what you hear. Do your homework, learn for yourself, and have your own opinion. Please do not base your ideals on one person. Do your own research, find the truth. With that being said, this is Four Faces. We here every single week, every week. Leave your comment below, and I'd like to say thank you, and we'll talk.